Recently, a guy born in 1995 shared his criteria for choosing a partner, and I was completely stunned. He said, "I don't consider high-income very beautiful women." But what's the reason? He explained, "The houses and cars those women own have nothing to do with me. I can't use them, nor can I afford to live there." He also added, "Women with such superior conditions will likely have even higher expectations for a partner. To marry them, I'd not only have to prepare a house and a dowry, but also hand over all my income for them to manage the household finances. Just thinking about it gives me a headache." He prefers a young, beautiful woman with a good personality, who doesn't care much about income or family background. What do you think about this guy's perspective on choosing a partner? I'm Juan Juan, follow me and I'll help you find your soulmate.
I am a 35-year-old woman, and unfortunately, I can say that men in general don't want to be involved with women over 30, especially if these women are successful and financially independent like me. I met a 35-year-old man, single and of good quality, who explained the reason behind this aversion to older women. He told me that through various interactions and research, he realized that many women over 30 have 5 main characteristics that make it difficult for men to get involved. First, many of them tend to have more extreme thinking, and when faced with problems in a relationship, instead of trying to solve them positively, they see them as signs of low-quality marriage. Secondly, many of these women lack self-awareness. They claim to prefer being alone rather than getting involved with just anyone, but their expectations are often higher than those of a 20-year-old woman. The third point is that they are very demanding. They want men to support them financially, emotionally, and even psychologically. And honestly, men are looking for a wife to share life with, not someone they need to spend all their time and energy taking care of. Additionally, most of these women have a lot of relationship experience, but often compare their current partners with exes. This kind of comparison is damaging to any relationship. Lastly, reproductive value decreases over time, and the risk of having children increases, which is something many men consider. To be honest, even though I am wealthy and successful, many men pull away, perhaps because they feel intimidated or uncomfortable with the idea of being with a woman who has more than they do. The truth is, as a woman, I realize that despite my independence, it's still hard to find a partner willing to keep up with me on the same level.
Why don't men in Hong Kong want to date high-salary women from outside? Do you know about this? A man in Hong Kong with an annual salary of 400,000, for example, doesn't want to date a woman from outside who earns 800,000. Here's what happened last week. We had a woman from outside with a master's degree from Fujian who studied in the UK with clear and smooth skin, working in Hong Kong with an annual salary of around 800,000. I helped match her with a local Hong Kong man who earns about 400,000 a year, and as soon as he learned about her conditions, he immediately rejected her. I asked him, "This woman has great qualifications. You two would be a strong match. Why not meet her?" He replied, "After we're together, who's going to pay for meals and transportation?" I said that most of the time men pay. Then he asked, "If we get married, who's going to pay for the house, the renovations, and other expenses?" I answered that normally the man pays, but if the money isn't enough, the woman might contribute a little. And he said, "If all the money is coming from me and she has a higher salary and better education, what's my role in this? She won't give me any money, and if I marry a woman from outside, I'd still have to pay a large dowry. Doesn't seem worth it." After marriage, he thought he wouldn't be able to save anything, as all the money would go towards household expenses. He also mentioned that women with high salaries tend to have very intense work routines, with overtime and sleepless nights, causing hormonal imbalances and other health issues. He believes it's easy for them to bring their aggressive work attitude home, which would make the home environment suffocating. So he concluded, why not look for a simpler woman from Hong Kong? What do you think of this man's explanation?
Why do successful women in their careers struggle with emotional issues? Essentially, it works like this. If you're successful in your career, it means you're engaged in the pursuit of success. To achieve that success, you need to arm yourself and behave in a way that reflects that success. You need to enjoy the feeling of power. What is this feeling of power? It's strength, authority, strategy, interests, value, all of this. Once you get used to this feeling, you become dependent on it and begin projecting it onto everyone around you. Think about it. If your father is a leader, he will also want to be the leader at home. It's the same logic. especially when he comes home and still wants to be the head of the household. You start applying this boss pattern to everyone around you. If you've never gone through major life challenges like I have, you won't be able to reflect on it deeply. If you don't reflect deeply, you'll remain dependent on this logic. When I was younger, I thought that because of my career success, I had all the answers. I believed my worldview was correct, that my way of relating to people was right, and that my approach to handling resources, environments, and relationships was right. And when it came to intimate relationships, I thought, is the way I handle these relationships also correct? That's where the problem lies. When you have one strong point, it can overshadow your weaknesses. Deep down, women can have this behavior. If they are successful in their careers, when they need to assume a feminine role in an intimate relationship, they need to be vulnerable and acknowledge the other person. Men, on the other hand, need admiration. In relationships between the sexes, there has to be a sense of mutual service. If you're stuck in the dependency of career success, how can you do this? It's not possible. But a woman who has gone through challenges will be like an amoeba. She will be able to adapt to her environment and the people around her. This requires complex mental training. You need to break yourself down and then rebuild yourself. You could have a life like mine, full of ups and downs. Only then will you be able to have a deep reflection. Otherwise, you'll need someone with more experience to guide you, to help you reconstruct this mental model, to activate the cell in your brain that hasn't developed yet. Why? Because, most of the time, your living environment allows you to continue relying on the same patterns and dependencies. But in certain situations and with certain people, you'll need a different way of thinking. This other way of thinking won't come naturally to a career-successful woman. You'll need someone more experienced to guide you so you can become more complete. It's about adapting, speaking appropriately to people and, when necessary, speaking differently. This is not a pejorative term. The real difference between people lies in the level of perception and thinking.
A
31-year-old high-income woman and a 22-year-old blonde girl. Who would you choose to marry? Here's the story. A 31-year-old female fan messaged me saying that with the Chinese New Year approaching, her family was pressuring her to get married, and they had arranged a date with a 32-year-old unmarried man. The woman, 31 years old, graduated in 2011 and currently works for a foreign company. She has a decent income, bought her own house and car, and is fairly attractive. The man has an ordinary bachelor's degree, his income is not as high as hers, but it's stable. He also has a house and a car. That day, they were preparing to go on their date, but her cousin, who was in college, came to visit her. They thought about going shopping afterward. However, the man wasn't interested in her, but rather in the cousin, who thought he was too old and his financial situation wasn't great. So, this fan asked me, do all men only like younger women? The answer is yes, men tend to like younger women, but that doesn't mean they only marry younger women. From my experience, most men around 30 years old, who are seriously looking for a marriage partner, wouldn't choose a woman younger than 25. Instead, they would prefer women between 26 and 30. This is because marriage involves choosing someone to raise children with, take care of elderly parents, pay for a house, and face the challenges of life together. It's definitely not an easy choice, and youth alone does not guarantee a perfect partner. Based on my professional experience in first and second-tier cities, there are two painful truths. First, women are indeed more eager to get married. And second, for ordinary people like you and me, with average looks, jobs, and financial conditions, a woman's golden age for marriage is between 24 and 28, and for men, it's between 26 and 32. After this golden period, both men and women find it more difficult to find their ideal partner. If you don't have a good job or financial stability during this golden age, the remaining options will often be the best you can find. From the moment you enter this golden period, the older you get, the harder it is to find a satisfactory partner. Many motivational quotes tell women that the higher their standards, the more likely they are to find true love. But, rather than finding someone just to pass the time, it's better to stay single but with quality. The advice for men is that at 40, they are like flowers and, with money, can get any woman. But the reality is that if women are too passive, they won't find love. Especially as age increases, men's impulsiveness declines year after year. Waiting for a good man to come after you, as if you were waiting for the Tsinghua University acceptance letter without studying, won't work.
The final result will be that you can't even find someone to get by with. You may be single, but you're not with a high-quality man. Don't think that at 40, you're still a flower that everyone wants. Many women can't accept a significant age gap. And the money you think he has doesn't make up for the disadvantage of being older. Knowing that he has an affordable apartment or a regular car at 30 isn't considered exceptional. On the contrary, these possessions are just the result of age and time. Successful men in their 30s usually have properties in prime locations or multiple properties and good cars. So, wake up to reality and start looking for a partner now, because otherwise, the best ones will be chosen by others.
女生的收入高呀。
Women with high incomes don't share the household because their income lacks an altruistic nature. For example, a woman who earns 500,000 a year, would she spend 100,000 on a man? No. And as her income increases, her expectations of men also rise, and she develops a sense of admiration for them. Her level of identification and tolerance toward men decreases at this point. Additionally, as the woman progresses in her career and increases her income, she spends more time and energy on her work. Men are fully aware that being with a high-income woman doesn't provide economic benefits, and that her expectations will keep increasing. Therefore, many men prefer to find a woman with a lower income but a stable job who provides emotional value. A woman with a good personality, more family-oriented, and this way they form a complementary relationship, rather than seeking high-income women who lack altruism.
After the blind date, a girl liked me a lot, and I liked her too, but there was a problem. Her income is higher than mine. I felt we weren't compatible. I felt I wasn't good enough for her, or rather, as a man, I felt embarrassed to be in this situation. I want to tell you something. This girl has good conditions, a good job, and earns well. This is an advantage for her, and the biggest advantage is that she also likes you. That's wonderful. So why do you care so much about your image? Many people think that if they find someone poorer than them, they can control the other person, that they will have a sense of superiority. But the reality is different, my friends. The poorer someone is, the harder it is to control them. The poorer, the more problematic. The poorer, the more that person values their pride and self-esteem. You say something, and they can get upset easily. The poorer, the harder it is to deal with them, the harder it is to maintain a good relationship. In fact, meeting someone with better conditions can be a blessing for you. Women with good conditions and high incomes generally have higher education. A person who earns well and has good conditions is certainly someone who understands the rules, who knows how to communicate, and has emotional intelligence. Now, if you choose someone without conditions, who has nothing, don't expect the relationship to be good. Even the sexual life won't be harmonious, and she won't support you. You know that? It will be hard even to have a child. So, if you're handsome and tall, and a really good woman likes you, my suggestion is to accept it proactively, dive into the relationship, without worrying about other people's opinions. Don't be stubborn. I've been saying a lot about this. Stubborn people can't find a partner. Be flexible. Got it? Modern marriage doesn't have to follow the idea that the man must be stronger than the woman. It's totally acceptable for the woman to be stronger than the man. The most important thing is happiness. The rest doesn't matter.
I really don't understand this fascination men have with women who are in a worse condition than they are, while avoiding those who have more money. Generally, I don't recommend getting involved with or marrying a woman whose material situation is very different from yours. This is, in fact, a form of necessary poverty, which is very difficult to deal with. For the less fortunate, it's a painful situation. They will think you look down on them, they will feel proud, wasteful, and often won't know how to handle the wealth they shouldn't have. The truth is, both poverty and wealth are matters of character. For a wealthy man, the initial intention may be to help a poor person, but over time he realizes this isn't possible because the mindset is completely different. The poor person will insult you saying you only have a little money, and if you don't give it to them, they will accuse you of not loving them. And the wealthy man also cannot manage his money with the mindset of a poor person. The poor woman might end up controlling his money, and if he loses control of his wealth, he too could end up poor. This type of relationship often leads to constant arguments, divorce, and division of assets. Therefore, it's very rare to find a poor woman and a wealthy man whose mindsets align effectively. Personally, I am not in favor of a wealthy man marrying a poor woman. This goes against the natural order, against the law of the universe, and it can't be disrespected. Unless you're willing to challenge this divine order and can bear the consequences, then go ahead. At the same time, a woman in a better condition than average usually isn't interested in men in inferior situations. There are even theories about men avoiding relationships with them simply because they possess a very strong masculine energy, which serves as an excuse not to get involved. In the end, a woman in a worse condition might show interest, while a woman in a better condition has a very strong masculine energy. In short, sometimes it's better to stay alone. What do you think about this topic? If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.